Tonight, after the pandemic left area spring sports teams unable to defend their crowns in 2020, see how they are approaching this season. Also, a newly sanctioned high school sport in Georgia is catching on. And our team officially picks the 2021 Sportsource All-Area Basketball Team. All that and more coming up on Sportsource.
This is Northeast Georgia's only local source for high school sports. From the Grady College at the University of Georgia, this is Grady Sports Source.
It's Friday at 5, and that only means one thing. No, not happy hour. It's another edition of Sportsource. Welcome. I'm Nathan Moore, and I'll be joined by our analysts Jillian McIntyre and Madison Castle later on. But we've got a packed show today. So first, for the past 4 months, Georgia high school basketball teams have endured a season unlike anything we've ever seen before. Now we're near the finish line on a basketball season that many thought wouldn't even happen. For this basketball edition of the Coaches Roundtable, I was joined by Prince Avenue head coach Brandon Jones, North Oconee's head coach Rick Rasmussen, and Oconee County head coach Thad Burgess. We discussed challenges faced and challenges overcome this season.
And I'll start with you, Coach Raz, and then we can just kind of go around and everybody give their answer. But I just want to start with, looking back on this season now that it's done, what were some of the biggest challenges that you and your team faced that were specific to this season?
The biggest challenge was probably mentally overcoming, do you know if you'll have your whole team? And we were fairly blessed. We did have some guys miss, and our written statement was, if you're sick at all, stay home. Don't risk it. Don't come at all. If you're sick, stay home until you know if you're well or not. And, not knowing who you would have, it's kind of hard to plan. If you plan for a kid to be in your rotation, then you don't have him. It upsets, what you think you're trying to do. So trying to keep everybody safe, keeping teenagers making good decisions. But then from a coaching
that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. That's exactly what I had too. When thinking of just trying to keep everybody's mental psyche positive and uplifting, that's a full-time task. And before the season started with everything that's going on, but definitely during, trying to make sure that everybody is accounted for, everybody's healthy, and just trying to keep those protocols from GHSA straight and narrow, making sure everybody's doing what they have to do so we can have a season. It was definitely being a tough one, being my first year head coaching, but something that I'll definitely will take with me for the rest of my career.
We went through probably 5 or 6 weeks where we lost anywhere from 2 to 3 kids randomly, and it allowed us to stay about 8 or 9, 7 or 8 people. We rotated them around, so I think it probably helped us down the road because it made us be a little deeper than probably we thought we were going to be earlier. Just because if you go on a Monday, you may get I know Coach Raz, I'm sure they did it pretty the same thing. You may get a call at 3:20 from your AD or your principal saying, hey, they just went in a classroom and 2 or 3 kids maybe that you've got, a couple of JVs, a 9th grader, a varsity kid, are going to be out 14 days, 10 days, whatever it was. So it's like earlier we adjusted on the run. The last couple of weeks, knock on wood, we really were pretty lucky. We were pretty much stayed pretty much the same group for about 2 weeks. Of course, every time the phone rang, every time you got an email, you were wondering what it was going to be.
But I'm with you guys that I'm just thankful we were able to have a season, especially for our seniors, to be able to play. Their recruiting for possible playing in college has been totally affected because hardly any coaches can get out and come see them. So that has been totally ruined, really. Very, very difficult on them. But just so thankful that we got to play it all. I really was worried we'd be able to play it all. And when the GHSA, here's where I felt like we would have a season. When I knew they were going to be able to have wrestling, I said, we're going to be able to play basketball because no one's closer than wrestling. Now, why you can wrestle, but you can't have a jump ball, I don't understand that one, but it is what it is.
Well, I agree with both of you guys. We're definitely concerned early on in this for the beginning of the school year. Didn't know what was going to take place, but I definitely learned through the course of this season that hard times produce hard people. And so with that adversity, I know my guys they've grown. I've seen their character grow. So I'm super, super proud of them for that. That was a great point that Raz just said about the energy level, just the bodies that could be inside the gym. So many times for practice, the beginning of practice, a lot of times 1 or 2 minutes, I would have a drill where we're just clapping. Either it's layup lines and we're clapping, we're trying to manufacture our own energy. And through that adversity that is quiet, through the mask on, through you don't know who's going to actually be able to attend a game. I was just really pleased with the guys with the way that they handled themselves, the way that they displayed their character, and it's just shows how well they've been raised well by their parents.
Thanks again to those guys for giving us a look behind the scenes with their teams during a trying season. There are many talented athletes around the Athens area, and tonight our analyst Jillian McIntyre will, wait, what was that?
Nathan, that could be this week's athlete in the spotlight. From Carnegie Hall as a tuba player to the soccer field as a midfielder, Cedar Shoals Jr. Enoch Maganda impresses fans all around. Maganda has 1 goal and 2 assists so far, as the Jaguars currently sit at 2-2 on the regular season, with region play about to begin. In 2020, Cedar Shoals went 6-0 overall and 1-0 in the region before its season got cut short due to COVID-19. In those 6 games, Maganda had 3 goals and 2 assists. When I spoke to co-head coach Connor Naughton, he said that other players follow Maganda's lead. He's the most active player in the team's group chat, sending words of encouragement to players after games. Coach Naughton said Maganda has stepped up this year as an upperclassman into an official team captain role. As a midfielder, Maganda's primary goal isn't to score goals, but his coach said Maganda has been integral to creating scoring opportunities. His versatility allows the team to move the ball and push the attack.
Create a lot of chances, a lot of quick passes, quick combinations, and that plays right into his strength because he's very good on the ball. He's a great dribbler. He's a great passer. He's very creative and has great vision. So our speed of play and our style of play, I think, definitely suits his strengths.
The team looks at this season as unfinished business. Coach Naughton says Maganda has grown into a threat for other teams that can help Cedar Shoals build off of last year's success. Coach Naughton said Maganda is the kind of guy you want on your team and in your classroom. He has a 4.0 GPA and is an all-state band member who was invited to play at Carnegie Hall last year. Maganda committed to play at Wofford last month. Before he moves on to college soccer, he is definitely an area player to watch. Back to you, Nathan.
Thanks, Jillian. Seems like Maganda could certainly be a player to listen to as well. Now up next, we find out how teams are getting back to the top, and we make our selections for the Sportsource All-Area Basketball Team. Stay tuned.
Get out to the forest.
Let the kids connect to their roots. It's gonna be so much fun.
Yeah!
Woo-hoo! Hey guys, wait up!
And discover the wonders of nature with your family.
These trees are the key to our way of life.
Fresh air.
What a glorious morning!
Clean water.
Woo-hoo! This is great!
An endless forest adventure.
Let's rock this jungle! Yo, this is untapped territory.
How amazing!
Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
How you doing? My name's Steve. My family's lived in this neighborhood for years. Recently, things got so tight, we had to go to our local food bank for help. I lost a lot of sleep worrying about what the neighbors might think. That is until I saw them there, too. How'd I do, Steve?
A little stiff. You could have done a little better.
What? Come on. You know, I have an Academy Award.
Yeah, but not for playing me.
Play a role in ending hunger. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find your local food bank.
All right, I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay, so who's gonna do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect, that's totally unhelpful.
No problem. Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
It's pretty hard when unforeseen obstacles get in the way of good things. Some local high school teams were in the peak form when the pandemic ruined their chances to show the world what they can really do. Sportsource reporter Cecily Stout has more on what's different for these teams after a year-long break.
The Athens Academy's boys soccer team finished the 2019 region season on top and was able to make the second round of playoffs. Its 2020 senior class held the mentality of being state champions. That goal, of course, became impossible when COVID-19 canceled the 2020 season. Yet the Spartans' mentality has only shifted slightly.
We didn't really lose much, which is why we're so good this year. We don't take practice as goofy and as fun as we normally do. It's more serious because we know at any moment it could get taken away from us.
High school spring sports are officially underway in the Athens area. Like the Spartans, there are many teams trying to build on their 2019 success. During their 2019 season, North Oconee's baseball team was able to grab the region title and reach the semifinals during playoffs.
That 2019 group really grabbed it by the horns and felt like that we had some things that we could go out and do. We got on a good roll. We actually that season started out 2-5. So we faced adversity early, and those guys, it kind of brought them together, made that group tighter. In 2020, we started out 8-2. Things were rolling along, and then all of a sudden, you got to take a break.
The Titans lost 8 seniors and now have 8 upperclassmen from their 2019 roster. Seniors Bubba Chandler and David Wiley serve as the team's leaders. Both athletes are committed to play at the collegiate level as Chandler heads to Clemson and Wiley to Wofford.
There's this mentality to go out there every game and win. Win is in what's important now. It's kind of our motto this year, just to do the little things right, and then that will ultimately lead to the bigger things.
The Athens Academy's tennis team is used to doing big things. The boys team has won 33 consecutive region titles dating back to 1987. In 2019, Athens Academy went undefeated in their region season and made it to the Final Four in playoffs. The 2020 cancellation robbed 5 Spartan seniors of their chance at a state title.
It sounds cliche and it sounds really cheesy, but the experiences and, for lack of better words, the time that we got to spend together was something that I was really bummed out on when I heard it was canceled.
This heavy loss led to this season's focus of rebuilding.
You have seniors every year, and they're not always playing, and they're not always your 4 best players, but they really were. So that was tough. And so just trying to figure out what spots people were going to fill, but just nobody had been on the courts.
Like their tennis program, the Spartan soccer players are trying to capitalize on what they've learned from the 2019 and 2020 upperclassmen.
You know, watching a senior class and knowing how much talent that we had on that team last year has really focused these guys this year. And I tell these guys every day, and they believe it. You know, every day that we get to play is a gift.
So far, the Spartans have been ranked second in Class A private this week by Score Atlanta. They are determined to finish high in their region and perform during playoffs.
You know, I'm really optimistic about this season coming back. We have a strong group, a group with a lot of chemistry, a lot of talent. And, you know, I think we all have high hopes for this season. We just got to stay motivated, stay focused.
This is Cecily Stout, Sportsource.
Thanks, Cecily. Now, staying on the topic, after the season was cut short last year, a local high school tennis team is ready to regain momentum. I want to bring on our analyst, Madison Castle. Madison, what do you have for us?
Now I'm going to switch courts on you, Nathan and Jillian. This is Prince Avenue Christian School's first full season with a varsity boys tennis team, and Coach Elizabeth Sadler's first season as head coach after being assistant coach for a few years. In my conversation with Coach, she really emphasized her appreciation for how well this team has adapted to the new regulations this season. Some of her team members haven't played tennis before, but are really getting the hang of things. Right now, the boys team is 4-1. The girls varsity team, which has a few more experienced players, is sitting at 5-0. Sadler coached JV when her current seniors were in middle school, so she has had the opportunity to coach them consecutively for 5 to 6 years. Now the Wolverines are led by a brother-sister duo, Jay Lavender, a sophomore who plays #1 singles for the boys team. For girls, Lauren Lavender, a senior, plays in the top singles spot as well. As if the competition of matches wasn't enough, they have a sibling rivalry going on as well. So far this season, Jay has won 1 match out of the 3 he's played. And a fun fact about the Lavender siblings, they are both acting in their spring school play, Fiddler on the Roof. Talk about extracurriculars. Lauren is undefeated this season at 3-0. Senior Olivia Shriver, who plays #1 and 3 singles for Prince Avenue girls, is also undefeated at 5-0. It is so important to be able to have these strong singles players in the top seed positions. You need sure wins to be successful as a team. Sometimes you have to stack. Sometimes you have to allow the younger players, less experienced, to take on a better opponent. It brings out their strengths, forcing them to play better. According to Coach Sadler, Jay's strongest stroke this year is his serve, especially the consistency and power. He worked hard in the offseason to perfect his serve. Lauren's strongest stroke is her forehand, with tricky topspin and backspin. Coach says that her forehand, she has good control of her ball placement within her rallies. The team extensively practices serving and return drills to strengthen their offensive shots. Back to you, Nathan.
Thanks, Madison. I'm excited to see what that program has to bring this season, and their talented athletes are certainly some that we should look out for. Now, moving from the hard court to the hardwood, basketball season is almost wrapped up here in the Athens area, with the exception of the Cedar Shoals girls, who are on a historic run this season. They take on Carver this weekend in their first semifinal appearance in 21 years. But everyone else is done for the year, so now it's time for some postseason awards. Now, there are a lot of great players to choose from, but only 5 can make the Sportsource Co-Ed All-Area Team of the Year. And I'm joined in studio by our analysts Jillian McIntyre and Madison Castle. Jillian, you're on the clock first. Who are you picking?
My pick is the Region 8 5A Co-Player of the Year. Senior forward Rio Foster from Clark Central High School has put up remarkable stats on both sides of the ball this season. His impressive showings helped lead his team to the Region 8 5A title and the state quarterfinals. Committed to Concord University for football, Rio's strength translates to the court. He's been able to out-muscle opponents down low, and he uses his size to discourage opponents from even thinking about driving the lane.
Yeah, no-brainer first pick there. Guy absolutely stuffed the stat sheet this season, averaging close to a double-double. Most importantly, though, he led his team to a region title. All right, so let's bring in Madison, who's second on the board.
My pick is a little more subtle. I'm going with Cedar Shoals' Skylar Lattimore. Ranked 58th in Georgia, according to Max Prep, she averages 12 points per game and makes 44% of her shots. Lattimore is a 5'9" senior power forward. She has a season high of 19 points against Luella, who was first in their region. In fact, that game she had a double-double as well against Jefferson. At 9 rebounds per game, she is clearly able to gain and hold her position in the paint. I would say it's what she does best. She had a great block against Spalding on Tuesday in the 4th round of state playoffs, working down their offense. She is also not afraid of taking those longer shots when she has the opportunity. A solid addition to the team.
Yeah, she's definitely one of the reasons that Cedar Shoals team are having the season that they're having. The Jags are 20-8, and as we mentioned, they're the only local team still alive in the playoffs. Now, for my first pick, I'm going with the most prolific scorer in the group at guard, North Oconee's Jay Saxton. The senior broke the Titans' single-game point total record with 54 against region foe Chestatee. And not only that, but he now holds the school's season total points record with 664 in 29 games. The guy can flat out score from anywhere, using his 6'1" frame to finish at the rim, or his explosive speed to get open on the perimeter or create his own shot. He can do it all, and he did do it all for the Titans this season. All right, Jillian, you're now back on the clock. Who's next?
For my second pick, I'm going to go with 5'7" senior guard Livy Blackstock from Jefferson. She has scored over 1,000 points this season in her career for the Dragons. This season, she averaged 16 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists per game. She was very consistent from the stripe as well, making 84% of her free throws. She's quick and continuously trips up defenders driving towards the basket. Livy also stands out by setting up her teammates with clutch scoring opportunities again and again. Blackstock has also committed to play at UNG next year.
1,000 points in a career really is something, and thanks in large part to her play, the Dragons were ranked as the #1 team in the state for much of the season before ultimately falling in the quarterfinals of the state tournament.
We've got a little teammate competition, Nathan. My second pick is Dylan Garrington. He is North Oconee's senior guard and the highest scorer in the program, right above Saxton, with 1,444 career points, 395 assists, and 359 completed three-point shots, holding North Oconee boys basketball record in all 3 of those categories. Garrington averages 14 points per game, 5 assists per game, and 3 rebounds per game. Just like Garrington, we are striving for the best on my team.
Yeah, I had a feeling you'd pick him after I chose Saxton. You know, those two guys really carried this Titan squad, and it's easy to see why with numbers like that. Well, that just about rounds out our starting 5 for the 2021 Team of the Year, but no team would be complete without a head coach. So at the helm of our team, I'm going with the Cedar Shoals girls head coach, Takesha Wall. As we mentioned off the top of the segment, Coach Wall has led her Lady Jags to the semifinals of the state playoffs for the first time in 21 years. I mean, I think we were all about 1 year old the last time they made it. So a fantastic accomplishment for her and the team, and they'll look to keep it going and advance to the state championship with a win over Carver Columbus this weekend. Now, still to come, a new sport in Georgia high school sports has competitors real excited, and I break down the latest edition of Matchup of the Week. Stay with us. Welcome back in here to the Sportsource studio. Now, fishing has been an outlet for adults and kids alike and is now recognized as a GHSA-sanctioned sport. Sportsource reporter Alex English tells us more about the Clark Central Bass Fishing Team from the latest Student Angler Federation tournament.
That's the biggest bass I've ever caught on Lake Erie.
The latest edition of sports, sponsored by the Georgia High School Association, finds bass fishing fans eagerly flocking to tournaments. Luke Garofalo has found success early on in the sport, last year being named the 2020 Angler of the Year by the Georgia High School Kayak Association. And get this, he did so as an 8th grader.
Being a GHSA sport now really, I guess, kind of drives that interest, you know, the fact that it is kind of sanctioned in that kind of way. The idea that you can get a letter on your letter jacket and all that, I think, is going to draw more kids into wanting to do it. For us, we have more tournaments on the docket this year than we've ever had in years past. So being able to provide more opportunities for students to fish is awesome.
Luke is one of the 18 athletes on Clark Central in its 6th year of competition. These 8-hour action sites start up long before sunrise and serve as the main practice for young anglers.
I'm rigging up till like 11 to 12. Like,
yeah,
I'm always prepping a lot so we can get everything right, lubers right and everything.
So like, I got 3.5 hours sleep.
Yeah,
probably barely has like
an hour.
one.
You just go to the gas station, get your energy drink, and you just wing it.
To account for the expensive costs of tournament fishing, Barner mandates the team to participate in fundraising efforts with business sponsorships from local organizations. The team charges $250 to be featured on their uniform, helping to pay for registration fees and equipment. The Gladiators have competed in 9 events so far this school year, with 2 more qualifying tournaments left for the GHSA State Championship in May. The main distinction between kayak fishing and bass fishing are that kayaks have 1 angler and results are based on fish length, while bass fishing results are based on weight and require 2 anglers and a captain over the age of 19 to provide and operate the boat.
Seriously, how many 14, 15-year-old boys, you know, would sit out here from 7:30 to 10:30 without a single bite? They're the patience. That's what this is about.
Get him on the surface. Get him on the surface.
Oh, baby!
Has seen a return to traditional bag weigh-ins as opposed to this fall's virtual weigh-ins filmed via hammondsdigital.com. 31 boats came back without any fish, while only 10 boats weighed in, a limit of 5 fish. Luke placed 18th and won the Cabela's Big Bass Award with a 5-pound, 9-ounce lunker, the biggest catch of the day.
I didn't know today was going to be that tough, but it was a real tough day for everybody. I mean, not a lot of people brought in big bags at all. Not a lot of people even weighted the fish, so, I mean, catching that fish really gave me some confidence throughout the day. I mean, I ended up catching 2, but still, it was a great day.
The first of the kayak tournaments will take place this Saturday at Bear Creek, while bass fishing will continue on Sunday at Lake Lanier. Alex English, Sportsource.
Thanks, Alex. I think it's fair to say that we're all excited to see the future of bass fishing in high school sports as we see an increase in college scholarships for the sport. Before we wrap up and send you into the weekend, let's take a look at a big baseball matchup coming up in this week's Sportsource Matchup of the Week. Tonight, we've got an all-local affair for our Sportsource Matchup of the Week. Clark Central and Athens Christian have a date on the diamond next Thursday in what could be a low-scoring pitcher's duel. These two sides are off to a good start as both the Gladiators and the Eagles are above 500. Clark Central's 7-3 start stands out as one of the best in the area, and the Glads were riding a 5-game winning streak before Athens Academy knocked them off 13-7 on Wednesday. The Gladiators are led by senior catcher Jackson Forrester, who's batting .267 on the year and led the way on Wednesday with a 2-hit, 3 RBI game against the Crosstown Spartans. Head coach Nicholas Wegman described his catcher as the warrior of the team. Forrester fouled a ball off his foot earlier in the year in a doubleheader against Monroe, and he went on to catch 17 innings that day when the second game went into extras. Now, Forrester and the rest of the Gladiator lineup will have to contend with a strong Athens Christian pitching staff. Through 6 games, the Eagles are allowing less than 2 runs per game, and in their last game, they shut out Elbert County, who had been averaging almost 8 runs per game prior to that loss. Head coach Alan Osborne said the Eagles' pitching philosophy is to throw the fastball, keep everything in the zone, and let their solid defense handle the rest. While the Eagles' defense has been solid, they don't exactly have a go-to ace on the mound. That's where Clark Central has the advantage. The Gladiators are expected to throw ace right-hander Quinn McMahon, who has yet to allow a single run through 10 innings of work. In fact, he's allowed just 1 hit. This will be a strength-on-strength matchup on Thursday, and whichever batting order can steal a few hits against these pitchers will likely come out on top. For Athens Christian, that means seeing more pitches, having longer at-bats that will hopefully get McMahon out of the game as early as possible. And on the other side, Clark Central will have to scrape enough runs across the board to give McMahon the support he'll need to go deep into the later innings. I'm expecting a close one on Baxter Street this Thursday, but then again, it's high school baseball. But if Clark Central's going to win it, it'll have to be on the back of their ace. Thank you for joining us tonight. Be sure and follow us on Instagram and Twitter @ByGradySports for all of our coverage on Athens area high school sports. With Madison Castle and Jillian McIntyre, I'm Nathan Moore. Have a good night.
Grady Newsource is a student production of the Grady College of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of Georgia, which is solely responsible for its contents. Views expressed do not represent those of the administration nor the Board of Regents at the University System of Georgia.
It's terrifying, it's disgusting, and it must be stopped. Throughout downtown Athens, mindless zombies are throwing recyclable items in the trash. No! But you can be a hero. Groovy. Use the downtown recycling bins for all your recyclable items. Cans, bottles, paper, and more can all be recycled. So use the downtown bins and don't be a mindless zombie. To save this world, we must recycle more.
Hart, what's going on? I'm leaving. Why? What did I do? Not enough. You constantly ignore me. You barely eat anything healthy. You're half as active as you used to be. The pressure is just too much. I quit. Okay, I get it. I'll do better. Just, please, don't leave. Okay, but remember, if I go, you go.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
I ride the bus.
I ride the bus.
Nosotros usamos el autobús.
Athens Transit would like to remind you that the bus is for everyone. Riding the bus is safe, affordable, and convenient. For work, for shopping, or anything else, the bus can take you there. And when you need a little extra help, the bus is ready to meet your needs. So remember, the bus is for everyone.
I ride the bus.
For routes and complete information about the bus, visit athensparkcounty.com/transit.